You're listening to The Grumpy Stew, Flight Attendant Podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Grumpy Stew Podcast, the podcast for and about flight attendants. This is the very first episode of the Grumpy Stew Podcast. And for those of you who are wondering, what the hell is a Grumpy Stew? This is not about food. I'm sorry. If you're hungry, I'm sure there are some foodie podcasts out there. This is not about a pot roast that went bad or something like that. This is the podcast that's for and about flight attendants. Now, I got to be honest with you. I've just kind of jumped into this head first. I have done no research. I have no idea if there are other podcasts out there about us, for us. There could be, and I'm sure it's a lot better than this one because I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of figuring this out as I went along. In fact, this is my fourth time recording this particular episode because I screwed it up here and there, and I'm still learning this editing thing and everything else. Episode 2 went just fine. I got it done in a couple of hours. Anyway, so what is this? What is this about? Well, like I said, this is about flight attendants and the crazy world in which we live. And what is it with the name The Grumpy Stew? Once again, it's not about food. It's a reference to an older term for flight attendants. Before flight attendants were called flight attendants, they were called stewardesses and stewards. So there's a stewardess for the chicks, steward for the guys. And of course, it got shortened down as usual. People do tend to shorten things to make it easier to say because stewardess is kind of cumbersome, not pleasurable to say, a little hard on the ear. So we say stew. It's a unisex term. Guys can be stews, girls can be stews. It's completely democratic. There's no me too here. It's all the same. Everybody's a stew. She's a stew. He's a stew. She's a total bitch, but she's a stew. Kind of like that. Works in a sentence. Another thing I need to tell you, as you've probably already noticed, this is going to be adult in nature. I do use adult language. I throw around fucks quite a bit. It's one of my favorite words. It's a very versatile word. It works with just about anything and everything. It's a great word. I encourage you to use it yourself. Expand your vocabulary a little bit, include fuck. So that being said, not safe for work. Not safe for work. If you want to listen to this at work, that's great. Use some headphones. You want to listen to this in the crew van, on your way to the airport, on your way to the layover, use some headphones. You never know who's around you that might be offended by language. And if you are a person that's offended by language, go ahead and make your exit. This may not be for you. I don't want you to be uncomfortable. That's not my intent. My intent is to have a little fun, but it's not to make people uncomfortable. So be an adult, make an exit, do your thing. I'm sure there's something more your speed that you can listen to. Also, if you want to listen to this at home with little Aiden Bella hanging around, you might want to use some headphones. You don't want to get a note from the teacher. Aiden said, "Fuck me." No, you don't want that. It would be my fault. Well, no, actually, it would be your fault because they're your kids. And I don't want to be tangentially responsible for your kids' vocabulary expansion because they're not my kids. They're your problem. That's why they're your kids. All right. Got that out of the way. Not safe for work. Stu's a flight attendant. What's this going to be about? Well, I think today we're just going to tiptoe into pet peeves, things that drive flight attendants nuts. And I'm going to kind of start with myself. I have like a small list of pet peeves that we can talk about. Future episodes, just kind of let you know, the next episode is going to, this is kind of funny. I'm a bit of a pack rat, I guess. Maybe I'm a little weird. I save all of my trip sheets or rotations or whatever your airline calls them. You go on the computer, you print out your trip sheet for that trip, and it has all your, rotation data, flight data, everything, block times, city pairings, all that crap, who you're flying with. I print that out for every single trip. I have for years. I've been flying for 8 years. I've always printed out my trips, and I've saved them. I probably have nearly all of them. I think I'm only missing, realistically speaking, I'm probably missing less than 100 trips. And you got to figure a guy that flies high time, been flying for 8 years, he's probably flown several thousand legs, right? So I have lots of these trips. And I have a kind of a little habit, a tendency to take little notes. So it just might be like a comment about a person. It might be, if a passenger says or does something particularly stupid or funny, I'll write it down. If I think of a funny joke or what I think is a funny joke, I'll write that down. All kinds of stuff. So I'll give you an example. Like I have all these things saved in a shoebox. I've been going through the shoebox. I spent 3 hours going through this fucking shoebox. I'm not even finished going through all these trips. Not all of them have stuff written on them, so I have to go through all of them individually to figure out which one has notes and things that I can read that might be kind of funny. So I only have like a small stack that appear to be funny, and just kind of give you a little highlight. One highlight is I found a trip. All it says written in black ink is 11C fucktard. That's it. 11C is a fucktard. I guess I didn't think too highly of 11C at the time. Not sure what was going on there. Little cryptic message I wrote to myself. 11C is a fucktard. So that's going to be the next episode, me reading all my little notes and then reading some submissions from some of my stew friends. Today, it's going to be all about my pet peeves. It's all about me. All about me and my giant ego. It's about me alone in a little room talking to myself about the shit that bothers me. Now, before we get too carried away, obviously I welcome your comments and your stories, funny things that have happened to you on the line. But don't send me if you hate your job so much, don't send me that shit. I like my job. I don't like you. And by you, I mean the stupid people that I have to deal with. This audience, obviously of higher intelligence, I get that. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about your friends who don't know how to read a boarding pass or order coffee or locate their seat in a metal tube. And that's what we're going to talk about. So let's just get right into the whole beverage thing and people not knowing how to order coffee. Now, I have struggled with this over the years. I have yet to find like a really cogent way to clearly ask someone how they like their coffee. It is a deceptively simple question, right? We've all been there. Someone asks for coffee, you ask them, how do they like their coffee? In some way or other, there's, how do you like your coffee? Milk and sugar? Black? How do you take it? There's at least 4 ways to ask someone how they like their coffee, and none of these seem to work for everybody. There's no one-size-fits-all solution to the coffee conundrum. So I'll give you an example. Doing the beverage service. Ask a guy what he wants to drink. He goes, coffee. Okay, great, coffee. How do you take your coffee? Blank stare. That's never a good sign. When you're getting the blank stare about coffee, you know you're in some deep shit. How do you like your coffee? Blank stare. Milk and sugar? Blank stare. Black? Do you like it black? Black coffee. Yeah, oh yeah, black coffee. Sounds good. All right. Here's your black coffee. I pop my break. Want to move on to the next row. I need milk and sugar. And I look at the guy and I go, what do you think I was just asking you? Well, I don't know. Really? I was asking you if you need milk and sugar. Oh, well, I changed my mind. Dude, you're killing me. People, if you've never had coffee outside of your house before, don't pick my flight to be the first time. Just do me a favor. Save my blood pressure. Save my heart. Save me from a future aneurysm. Don't ask me for coffee if it's your first time having coffee. So when someone is asking you how you like your coffee in some form or other, think about, how do you fix your coffee when you're at home? What do? Do you put something in it? Maybe? Do you put some sugar in it perhaps? Do you put some milk, cream? Do you dip your balls in the coffee, swish them around? What do? I'll do it for you. No problem. I have no problem with that. Just let me know how you like your coffee. It's not complicated. But you guys never had coffee outside your house before, apparently never been to a Starbucks or a restaurant, don't know how to order coffee. No clue. No clue. And don't tell me it's black and then demand sugar. Okay, there are 3 types of coffee. There's coffee. There's coffee with sugar, which is black coffee. with sugar. Black coffee is black coffee. There's nothing in it. Let's just get that out of the way. Black coffee is black coffee. Black coffee with sugar or coffee with sugar is black coffee with sugar. Now, what is black coffee? Black coffee is roasted bean water with nothing in it. Coffee sugar is roasted bean water with sugar in it. Coffee milk and sugar, coffee cream and sugar, or if you're a new flight attendant, newly based in New York, and you hear coffee regula, that's coffee 2 and 2. In other words, 2 creams, 2 sugars, coffee regula for you newbies in New York. You're welcome. Now, just as a pro tip to all you youngins out there, you hear someone say regular coffee, but you don't hear the New York accent, just go ahead and verify. Do you mean the New York regular, 2 and 2, or do you mean, black coffee? Regular means different things in different parts of the country. But 2 and 2, cream and sugar, milk and sugar, black, sugar, that's universal, or so I thought. Some of my friends are like, well, I just hand them the milk and sugar, whether they want it or not. I'm like, well, that's wasteful. That's wasteful. You're just going to have to throw that shit away eventually, and you're throwing your own money away if you really think about it. All the shit that we waste. Anyway, my blood pressure is starting to creep up on me. Calm down. Calm down. Well, God, I just get so fucking pissed. Okay, so the other thing that kind of drives me nuts is people like the whole thing with beverages. One thing, for example, for those of you who don't know, maybe you're not flight attendants, maybe you're just an occasional passenger. During the boarding process, first class will come in first, and they'll sit down, and they get a drink. They get a little beverage, while the rest of you heathens and savages kind of slink off to the back in the dark corner where you like it, where you belong. But the first class people, they get a drink. And it's, pretty much whatever they want. There's no restriction on that. And I'll give you an example. So one day, I'm doing my little ground service in first class, and everybody up front is a frequent flyer. Most of them very frequent flyers. I can tell this by their status, right? So I asked this very frequent flyer. He's not like a low status guy. He's a pretty high status guy. I ask him what he wants to drink, and he gives me my favorite question, what do you have? And my favorite response is, it's the usual. Sometimes I look at these super frequent flyers, I go, it's the same stuff we had yesterday, sir. What are you thirsty for? And he goes, oh, well, do you have grape juice? Now the other frequent flyers around us are kind of perking up their ears a little bit and noticing that this guy is a complete fucking moron. Of course we don't have grape juice. No one has grape juice, to my knowledge. So I go, yeah, we have grape juice, but it's fermented. Now there's a few laughs in the cabin. I'm getting some laughs. I'm liking this. Dude's looking confused, as they always do. That is their natural state. And he's like, fermented? I said, yes, sir, it's wine. Fermented grape juice is wine. What color would you like? Oh, do you want red or do you want white wine, sir? I'll have red. Okay. I come out, bring him his red wine, 9 a.m. He thinks it's actually grape juice. It is grape juice, but it's fermented. He takes a sip, and he realizes finally, it dawns on him, it is wine. I was not kidding. Here is your red wine. You fucking moron. Everybody else is just cracking up because they can't believe what a dumbass this fucker is. And then speaking of the beverages, when I'm going through your cabin on your flight, asking you what to drink, don't ask me to run down the entire menu of beverages just to say, oh, I'll have water. Unless, of course, you want me to kill you and then hide your body in a lavatory. That can be arranged. I'm welcome to do it. Just go ahead. Ask me to run down the whole list of beverages and just say water. If you want water, just say you want water. But don't go, what do you have? Well, the usual. Oh, I'll just have water. Well, of course you have water. You don't see the big fucking bottles of water on the top of this cart? If you want water, just say so. No problem. But don't... Okay, we have Coke, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, Sprite, Ginger Ale, Fresca, Seltzer, Orange, Apple, Tomato, Spicy Tomato, Cran. What else would you like? Water. You fucking asshole. I'm going to get my chainsaw ready. I'm going to cut your body up. I'm going to stuff it in an overhead bin and then tape it shut so no one else can find it. That's what I'm going to do next time you do that to me. Oh, God. Man, this really pisses me off. All right. And speaking of beverages, folks, I appreciate a good glass of wine as much as anybody else, but don't be a wine snob on a plane. You have exactly two options on a plane, white or red, especially if it's a domestic flight. White or red. Do you have a Sauvignon Blanc? No. Nice try, though. Thanks for the laugh. Oh, what kind of red wine do you have? Do you have a Shiraz? No, it's in a plastic bottle, and it says, quote, unquote, red wine. You want some? And they go, yeah. They drink it anyway. It's a headache in a bottle. I let them know. Well, it's most likely a migraine in a bottle. You're welcome to it. I'm not going to drink it, that's for sure. Cheap-ass shit. I drink my shit at home, okay? And it's not in a plastic bottle or in a cardboard box. All right, wine snobs. That's on my list. Don't be a wine snob. I had this guy. God, I don't even know how he got the upgrade. He was such a low-level person, okay? Not even, let's say, the equivalent of the United Global Services. He's like 4 tiers below that. And first of all, he doesn't like the size of the plane. He's uncomfortable with that. It's not to his liking. Well, don't know what to tell you, sir. Netjets.com. Charter your own aircraft if you don't like the ones that we have. And then he's asking about the lunch options. That day, lunch was yes or no. Sometimes we have choices, like there might be, half salads and half some sort of hot entree. That day, it just happened to all be the same thing, and the choice was yes or no. He wasn't happy with his choices. He wasn't happy with that. Then what kind of wine do you have? Because he's a yuppie. In dirty clothes, by the way. And I go, well, it's red, and we have white. That's not very specific. Okay, well, it's quote-unquote red wine in a plastic bottle. You want it? Fucker. Now, some of you listening to this are maybe not, or may not be very savvy flyers. Maybe you only do it a couple times a year. That's okay. That's okay. On your boarding pass, there's this thing. It has your name. It has the city pairings and the times and all that stuff. So, say you're going to JFK, LA. It's going to say that. It's going to have the times. The boarding time, departure time, your arrival. It's going to say, there's going to be a little square that says seat. It's going to say your seat number and your zone. I think this is universally true. So it's going to say, for example, 22C. And then your dumbass is going to come in and you can't find 22C, and you're going to ask me, where's 22C? And I'm going to say, it's right over there behind 21. Oh, okay. True story. People have asked me, where is blah, blah, blah? And they're standing right next to it. And I'll say, well, it's right there, right behind row 21. That's where you'll find 22. And then they're 22C, and they'll go sit in the window seat. Because everybody knows that C has got to be the window seat. People, I've been flying since I was a child. And I could tell you, for a verified fact, every single plane I have been on, the rows from left to right, the seats, I should say, have been in alphabetical order, window to window. Window to window, alphabetical order. So let's take a 737, for example. 6 abreast, right? 6 seats in a row. It's A, B, C, aisle, D, E, F. A and F are the window seats. This is not confusing. And people look at the freaking placard that has the seat, the row number, 22. And it says A, and it's right next to a window. B, clearly in the middle. C, and it's got like a little picture of a person next to it, which would indicate an aisle where, people stand. People don't stand at the window, right? I mean, let's hope not. Unless they're on the wing, pulling an Evel Knievel, they should be standing in the aisle. There's a lot less wind inside the aircraft, so I imagine they stand inside the aircraft, right? In the aisle? No, they think C is the window and they sit in the window seat. No, sir. No, sir. It is not the window. C is the aisle. It's always the aisle. It's never not been the aisle. You're killing me. I'm setting up I was working Paris the other day. I'm setting up the business class galley, and on this particular aircraft, passengers board at door 2, which happens to be where the business class galley is. And they come into where I'm standing. They walk right up to row 10, and they look confused. Once again, the natural state of the American passenger. Look confused. They turn around and come right over to me. Excuse me, we can't find 11H and J. Oh, no problem. You see where you're standing? That's row 10. Yeah, okay, right behind that is row 11. H is the aisle, J is the window. Right over there, right behind row 10. Oh, okay, thanks. Now, yes, I was an asshole. But they didn't seem to pick up on that. And they clearly did not understand that rows are in chronological order. 11 follows 10, my friends. It's not 10, 13, 11. I mean, give me a freaking break. And then speaking of locating your seat and getting your ass in it, it is not necessary to walk over to your seat and then play with your bags for 20 minutes. Do not stand in the aisle repacking your luggage. You should have done that at home. And another professional tip from someone that packs every single day. This is what I do. I put everything in the exact same spot every single time. I can find my shit in the dark, okay? Because everything goes back in the same place every single time. Otherwise, I lose it and I can't find it. So when you're looking for your magazine or your headphones, your phone charger, first of all, it's always best to kind of have that crap kind of handy. So when you get to your seat, you just pull it out and you sit down. And you don't hold up the boarding process. So don't do what these douchebags do and stand in the aisle repacking your luggage, digging through everything, looking for your headphones, looking for your magazine, and then you kind of half-ass sit down. You kind of like do this human amoeba thing where you're like half in the aisle, half in the row, and you're just kind of like flowing into the row, and then you suddenly, oh, right, I need my magazine. And you kind of flow kind of amoeba back into the aisle, and you're like digging through your bag, and you're looking for your magazines, and you have your magazines here, and you're trying to figure out which one do I want to read today? Do I want to read the good one now or save that later? Well, let's see. What do I have? Oh, here's Colostomy Today. No, I think I'll save that for tomorrow. Let's see. Oh, Fisting in America. That sounds like a good choice. I'll read that one today. Scab Aficionado. Let's start with that one. No, don't do that shit. Have your shit handy. And then sit down. It's a plane. You sit. Just sit down. Shut up. Sit down. If you hear us kind of yelling at you on the PA to sit down, and you kind of turn and notice that there's like this huge line of people trying to get around you, you're the one that's causing the delay. I'm just letting you know. You're causing problems. Don't do that. Don't do that. We want to be on time because we don't want to hear you whine about your connections that you booked yourself in a big airport. I have only 15 minutes. Can I make my connection in Chicago? First of all, you're lucky to survive O'Hare, to get out of there alive. You're just count yourself lucky to get out of O'Hare alive, let alone getting from C to F in 15 minutes. Good luck with that. Good luck. Oh, God. Seat assignments, beverages, reading a ticket, people that can't order coffee. What's next? Stupid people. Oh, this one's near and dear to my heart. I don't like stupid people. I don't like people, but I like people. What does that mean? I'm not exactly a people person, but I do like people on an individual basis. Everybody individually is unique. They're different. They have something to offer. But when they start clumping together and forming little groups and wearing the same hat, I've got a problem with that. But aside from that, other people I don't like are stupid people. I have very little tolerance for stupid people. One of my friends She's like, I think they lose half their brain when they go through the magnetometer. I'm like, no, you're assuming they had something on the shelf before they got to the airport. These people were like that before they left their house. They're just dumb. Just imagine it. Look down the aisle of the aircraft, completely full plane. And they're all sitting there with that dumb, empty expression on their face. And half of them are pretty dumb. And then it occurred to me that the other half are even dumber. And these people have jobs. And they drive cars. And someone is giving them a credit card. I'd like to know who the fuck is giving these people credit cards. You look at this doofus with his mullet and fanny pack, and he's an obvious, apparent credit risk. Come on. Look at him. He's an obvious credit risk. An American Express. Here you go, $50,000. No big deal. Pay it back whenever. We trust you. We trust you to make sound financial decisions with a mullet. Oh, Lord, don't be stupid. Crack open a book. Broaden your horizons. Okay? Expand your consciousness. Don't ask me stupid questions. What river is that down there? What do I look like? Lewis and Clark? I don't know. You have an iPhone in your hand. Crack open your Google Earth and look. It'll tell you what river that is. Where are we? Earth. I don't know where we are. I can't see outside. I'm standing up, in case you haven't noticed. We can't see outside. We have no view outside. Unless we sit down in our jump seat and all we see are clouds. That's it. We can't see the ground. There's nothing to see. Clouds. Open sky. We don't know where we are. I could guess. Well, we're 2 hours into a 4-hour flight, so we're somewhere in between, Chicago and wherever. I mean, I don't know where we are. No idea. Use that freaking TV screen in front of your face as a moving map. It'll tell you where we are. One time, going to Chicago, this hill person is looking out the window, and he's looking confused and kind of concerned, and he gets my attention. He gets me over there. He's looking out the window. He goes, "Is that mud?" I'm looking down. I have to get down on his level to kind of see out the window. And he goes, "Is that mud?" I go, "Sir, that's Lake Michigan. You're going to Chicago, which is by a really big lake called Lake Michigan. And it doesn't look like mud. There's like a cloud casting a shadow on the water, and it looked brown." And he asked if it was mud. "No, sir, that's water." That's a lake. Really fucking big one, I might add. Yeah, mud? Is that mud? You gotta love the hill people. Another example of stupid people. And this is a totally 100% true story. It is disgusting. Disgusting. So me and my stews, my colleagues, we go out to the aisle to do a second service. We come back to the galley, and we find a soiled diaper in the food cart. Someone changed their kid's diaper and put the soiled diaper in a food cart. In other words, a cart that was closed at one point. He opened it. It was full of drawers of food. It doesn't even look like trash. It's clearly food that's wrapped and marked and labeled and all the shit. It's clearly food. Stuck a soiled diaper in there. So my asshole self called him out on the PA, demanded that the person who left the soiled diaper in the food cart in the galley has a soiled diaper in it. Whoever left it in there needs to come back. Yeah, we made him come back, pick it up, and throw it away. And we're like, "You're going to pay for all that food." No, I'm kidding. We didn't say that. But we gave him a pretty hard time. Who does that? I was like, what were you thinking? It's not a trash can. The trash can is that thing that says trash. Oh, well, I thought it's not trash. The other one that says trash is trash. This has drawers in it of food. What was the giveaway that this was not trash? He couldn't process that. Couldn't give me an answer. And speaking of diapers, here's kind of a funny thing. I commute from Orlando. And here's a unique thing about an Orlando commute. Whenever I sit down on the aircraft, without fail, within 20 minutes of sitting down on the aircraft, someone around me somewhere shits their pants. Every time. I smell feces for an entire 2-hour flight. And eventually, someone has to tell mommy and daddy, hey, I think you need to change your baby's diaper. And then they want to change it at the seat. And then someone else has to say, no, there are changing tables in the lavatories, which they can't find. Change the diaper in there and then put the diaper in the trash can in the lavatory, which they also can't find. And I kind of think that's hilarious. and I think it's just uniquely Orlando. Well, maybe West Palm has that problem too, but it's old people instead of kids. And my final pet peeve for today. And speaking of the lavatory, you guys can neither find the lavatory or figure out how to open the door or flush the toilet. I'm not sure why or how this is difficult. Most lavatories, it may not say lavatory on it like in big letters, but it'll say like no smoking in lavatory, push, pull, or in the case of a knob, you turn the knob and you open it. Much like a door. Yeah, I've had to explain this to adults. Is that the lavatory there? Yep, sure is. Is there some sort of trick to opening the door? Just turn the knob and push. Just like the one at home. Oh. Not complicated, folks. Push where it says push, pull where it says pull. The button that says flush, guess what? It flushes the toilet. I know. It's like, wow, mind-blowing. The toilet flushes. Yeah, flush the toilet, please. Wash your hands in the little sink. Paper towels immediately above that sink will dry your hands. The Kleenex is off to the side. Probably not so much. Maybe use that to blow your nose. Something like that. Not so great for washing your hands and drying them. I'm just going to put that out there. All right, guys. Stews, non-stews. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I appreciate your time. Let me rant and vent a little bit. Once again, a future episode that's going to be released very soon will be just me reading all my little notes that I have collected over the years about passengers. And I have a couple of submissions from my stew friends. And then a future episode I'm kind of planning around in my head is I want to talk about the hiring process, how to get hired as a flight attendant. Some of you might be interested in becoming flight attendants. And you kind of want to know where to start. What's the application process like? What's the interview process like? Well, guess what? I happen to know people. Believe it or not, I do have a few friends. Because I'm just a big ray of sunshine. And I do have a few friends. One of my friends, Kathy, she was an in-flight recruiter at her airline for, I want to say it maybe 20 years. So she's very experienced in in-flight recruiting. So she knows exactly what she wants to see in a successful in-flight candidate. And so she's going to give us some insight if I can get a hold of Kathy and talk her into doing an interview. And then my other friend, Paris, who was one of my former crash pad roommates in New York. She's since transferred, unfortunately. I wish she was still in New York. She's a lot of fun. She's got a great sense of humor. But she is now an in-flight recruiter herself. She's been in in-flight recruiting, I want to say, for about a year. And our hiring process this year has already resumed. I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks ago. So she's probably neck deep in resumes and video interviews and probably starting in-person interviews here pretty soon. So she can tell us what she likes to see in a successful in-flight candidate. So I'll see if I can get that put together, and we'll put together a podcast about the hiring process. But in the meantime, thanks again for listening. I don't know what this process is. I don't know if you like. I don't know if you subscribe or tell your friends or the RSS thing. I don't know how this shit works. I'm not a podcaster. Experienced anyway. So do whatever it is that you got to do to like mark this as your favorite so you can listen to future episodes and get notified. I'll probably put this on the YouTube so you can like and subscribe that. And tell your stew friends, your non-stew friends, people who are smart. Don't invite the stupid people. I don't want to read their comments. Unless, of course, you want me to make fun of them, then I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it. It's one of my skills. It's a power. I wield it. Thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you on the next Grumpy Stew podcast.